Be quiet. I hate Aragi. I loathe, I detest, I abhor, I am sickened by, I scorn, I despise, I condemn, I hate him. I hate him, I hate him, I hate him, I hate him, I hate him. I hate him, 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 I hate him. I hate him, 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 I hate I messed up. This is so embarrassing. I want to die. I want to disappear. Haha. I may be Ogi-chan in this form. However, this is just Shamu using me as a vehicle for this video commentary, or I guess more commonly known as a video essay around these parts, but Shamu himself would never stoop that low to jeopardize his brand, even though he rushed this video out. If you haven't read the light novel Orokamonogatari, this is your only warning, as there will be light spoilers, so if you want to wait until the anime covers these said arcs, I mean, go right ahead. But I do know there are some ants around here that are fine with knowing more than they know, which is quite repulsive. But hey, enjoy this alternate commentary. Utsuri Monogatari. Silence. A part over. Nishio Isen's structuring in the Monogatari series is pretty cool. For someone who writes with so much character back and forth to establish themes, Isen compounds this by the proximity or distance of those said arcs. The grouping that Isen dictates that something belongs here versus elsewhere is obviously intentional to the overall flow of the series. With Orokamono, we are littered with the fools of the series. Sodachi fools herself into thinking she hates Aragi when he is a pretty solid part of her life and her reason to continue to struggle, which is why she still hates herself. Kanbaru fools around with Ogi-kun while trying to clean and failing pretty miserably. Ononoke fools Tsukihi into thinking she's a magical girl and then gets humbled by Aragi's influence on his own sister. There's only really been one instance where there were 3 arcs back to back, also compiled within a singular volume, Owari Monogatari Volume 1, which coincidentally houses all of Sodachi's arcs. Ogi formula was a challenge to Aragi's past, but it was definitely something that defined his high school demeanor, while Sodachi Fiasco is her facing her present based on something that has defined the rest of her high school demeanor, no matter how short that was. But neither of them required oddities to actually solve it, and that makes for the perfect introduction to both the end of these tales and the off-putting nature of this new season of works, as Monogatari has always focused and centered around oddities as a vehicle in this kind of way, but this time we don't need it at all. Sodachi Riddle digs even deeper into the romanticization of Aragi's middle school days, while Kanbaru Bonehead digs to uncover more of what might be left over. Regardless, neither holds on to the burden of expectations. Sodachi Lost resurfaces a missing thread now that a teacher has left to fill this hole, while Tsukihi Undo resurfaces an old thread of observation now that someone, Aragi, has completed high school. So for you fellow readers, or maybe any anime onlys, keep these loose connections in mind while going into the anime adaptation, which is boldly changing things even more than the 3 major shifts that they've done thus far in its anime run. But we'll worry about it after that Blu-ray comes out. We know how Shaft is, you know. A novel may begin with its writer, but it can only be truly completed by the reader, right? Then what do we consider the anime adaptation, or the manga version, or what about the countless short stories, in particular Sodachi Mirror, that ties perfectly with Zoku Owari Monogatari, which was Nissen's first test run of the overwhelming narrator of Sodachi? Or what about the audio commentaries, in particular the Ogi x Kanbaru ones, which I feel are the biggest precursor to this Surga Bonehead. Sadly, I only watched those audio commentaries after reading this arc, but it definitely gave me a much clearer picture. Sure, it's fine to not take these other forms too seriously, they're just, you know, non-canon or spin-offs or extra information, but it definitely gives you a little bit of a fuller picture of the web of dynamics that Isen casts as he interconnects them with references all across. I mean, even the visuals for this video are references left and right. You can even add analysis pieces of any medium, whether it's Anilist reviews like what this originally started out as, or even videos that you watch after consuming, as the final step in discussing or thinking about an entry. Maybe a reread is the final form, or maybe it's just when you end up forgetting it. But at the end of the day, you dictate how much you want to. Now for the epilogue or the punchline of this video. I didn't know if I wanted to make it a full-blown for the light novel or for the anime, so you end up with this really weak in-between of nothingness that was extremely rushed out for this anime adaptation that is coming tomorrow, or today, depending on when you're watching this. No matter how much of a reading Isen elitist I am excited for the anime. So much so that I refuse to actually reread Orokamono or any of the arcs that have been announced, Nare Monogatari or Waze Monogatari or Shinobu Monogatari. Look, like, it's been a couple years since I've read some of them, so I'm excited to go in like a fool to re-experience these stories with a new direction in mind. I'm currently deep into the last volume of Monster Season as this anime begins, and halfway into the Owari Monogatari audio commentaries to complete my run of all the content that's out there for me. So I hope I will be completed and ready for this next video when Nare Monogatari airs. I don't thrive off that week-to-week video chase, but you can find me elsewhere rambling if you like. I'll wait until all the Blu-rays for this core of episodes comes out, and their respective audio commentaries, which I'm sure Isen will write up some other dynamic before talking about the adaptation itself. Hopefully, you've caught all the references so far, or you had the closed captioning on. I'll see you then. Peace.